Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us out here today. I hope you all had time to get some coffee and fill up on those battery levels. My name is Magdalena, but feel free to call me Maggie, please. This is Robbert. And thanks for joining us on our quest today to prove to you that anyone can create maps with Mapcreator, that is. And this is not just our company motto because we think it sounds nice, but it is really true. So if you're thinking about those two names already, maps and creating, I think you're guessing correctly already. We will be spending the next 20 minutes talking about how you can get to create awesome maps, map animations, interactive maps that you can go live on air with. Now, if you think maps and one of your associations is like what, Google Maps or something like that, then maybe let me point you in the right direction. And when we talk maps, we talk, for example, maps that look like this one here, where you see it used as a backdrop while a news reporter is talking about a story. But it can also be used as an interactive map during live election coverage that can look like this one here. So we did this for the 2020 presidential election. We will do it again next year. And you can really engage with your audience and show them the data as it's being pulled in. And if we're talking maps, we're also talking map videos, and that's mostly what we're going to be focusing on today. So you can create awesome maps like this one here. Now, I don't want to spend too much time talking about who Mapcreator is, who we are, where we're from. For that, just visit us over there at the booth right afterwards. We'll be happy to answer all of these questions. For now, actually, we're going to switch over to our tool, the Mapcreator tool. We're going to stop with our slide sharing and I think we need to change something here still. Let's give it a second. Here we go. All right, so we were thinking of creating a map of one of the more sad stories that happened just a couple of days ago, where at a sweet 16th birthday party in Dadeville, Alabama, some kid was shot, and we're from Europe. We have no idea where Alabama is, so we're going to be using the search function right in the tool that allows us to pull up Dadeville, Alabama right onto this map. And now we can use our plus menu, where we are able to pull icons and text elements on top of the map. So we can explain really to the users with one view, this is Dadeville, this is where the story happened. So as a next thing, we can add a text box, type it out. Of course, while the news anchor is presenting the news, there's not a lot of time to show what's going on with one glance. It needs to be visible, what's going on, where is the story happening. So all of the information is really quickly visible to the audience. Now, maybe it will be interesting to give it some more context, so we can add, for example, the shape of the state of Alabama to the map, to really make it stand out compared to the rest of the states in the US. Because this would allow us now to give it a different color, so it can stand out a little bit more compared to the rest of the map backdrop. All these colors here, all of the text elements, all of the icons, by the way, they can be pre-customized in such a way that the users don't need to spend time while the map is being created thinking about, does this map look nice? Is this according to the brand identity? We want to make sure, of course, that they can focus on the story and they can focus on getting the story out there as quickly as possible. So icons, icon sizes, fonts, font colors, all these will already be pre-customized according to the user's input. So usually we work together with the art director, with the design director. They tell us, hey, this is our style guide. Make sure that the maps are going to look exactly like that. And our Mapcreator design team will make sure they will be implemented exactly as such. Now, we took roughly 2-3 minutes to create this map right now. We could go to the export menu and then download it, for example, as a PNG, as a JPEG, but also as SVG files. If you are interested in bringing this into Adobe-like post-edit programs, then you can, in fact, make additional changes to the layer structure, so all of the elements are still editable. And you just need to hit the download button, and everything inside of the frame is going to be downloaded as an extra file in a what you see is what you get way. So everything that you see here on the screen is exactly going to be downloaded in the file ready to be published. Now, this exact same map, we could also take it one step further. It could be made, for example, interactive. You can embed it on a website and allow your audience to interact with it some more, pull up more information. But actually what we want to be focusing on right now is making this map as a map video. So imagine the typical story. We start here more on a global zoom level. I want to show a bit of the globe. I want it to rotate a bit nicely, and then I want to zoom in towards Stateville, Alabama, and so really pull the curiosity and interest from your audience. So for that, we're going to switch to our video editor. We can activate our globe setting, and with that, define now a sequence of keyframes. Now, keyframes basically will just allow us to capture which zoom level at which location we want to be at. And then we're going to define a sequence set that would allow us to say, okay, now we're going to capture the globe. We can define that as a first keyframe. Then we can pull in a little bit closer towards Alabama and then define it as a second and third keyframe. And now, just to test it out, we can already check that out and see what that looks like. We hit the play button, it plays it back here right in the tool, and this would be a first view of how this map is going to look like. Now, I think what would be nicer is if we decide that, for example, the yellow color of the state of Alabama, that it only shows in the first couple of seconds, and as we then zoom in closer towards Stateville, that we will hide it again. So you can use now our timeline editor, and you can decide how long an element should be visible, when should it enter, and when should it exit. Then you can also change if it should be fading in or fading out, instead of the instant appearance, making sure that it really has a nice, smooth look and feel. Then we can also decide by clicking on the icon and clicking on the text element that these only need to appear towards the later third of the video. So we're just pulling that back to make sure that it only appears afterwards. So everything works with a very simple drag and drop behavior. We really want this to be intuitive because our promise is that anyone can create maps, no matter whether you're a journalist, no matter whether you're a graphic designer, motion designer. From one interface, you can create maps for multiple platforms, for multiple channels. And now we're gonna play back this video one more time and see this nice map that zooms in here closer towards Alabama. We can maybe even take it one step further. We can add also the satellite layer. So say on this more global view, we want to first have the satellite look and feel, so the actual look and feel of the map. And then by clicking here on the square, you can then decide that it should only be visible in the first, say, 3 seconds of the video. And after that, it should dissolve nicely into the rest of the vector map by fading it out. And then you can hit the play button one more time. And we're going to play the video. And then if you're happy with your result, we can use the export menu, the download menu to, for example, download it as an MP4, as a MOV file. It's ready to be published. Or if you're still interested into embedding it into a longer story, you can also download the JPEG and PNG sequences and pull it into Adobe-like programs such as Premiere and After Effects. Now, since our focus is supporting newsrooms, supporting the journalists and the motion designers that are already busy as is, and news need to get out fast, we also have additional data sources. So as a general information, we use OpenStreetMap as our base source of the maps, but exactly for those live stories such as hurricanes, as earthquakes, as wildfires that are happening now, we source third-party data sources from USGS for the earthquakes, for NOAA for hurricanes, and from the NIFC for wildfires. We provide all of that additional information in the tool so you really know where this information is coming from. And as we are now adding these additional layers, in this case, in fact, you see all of the earthquakes of the last 7 days as they happen around the world, and you decide which ones you want to show. I don't think we can show you a hurricane right now. There's none active, which is good for you. We have drought data, so this one is pulled on a regular level as well. It comes with different color shades, really indicating which is the area that's really more dry or not so dry at the moment. Do we have any questions from any of you? Sorry? Yes, what about directions? Let me repeat that question for you. Absolutely, we can draw routes that follow real vehicle navigation data. We can draw flight paths as well that go from one airport to another. So for that, we're using our lines tool here. We can switch to the curved line and say you want to show how easy it is to fly from San Francisco to Las Vegas. So I can type that in here. I can type in Las Vegas as well. No. Finish. And now you have additional edits available that would allow you to bend the curve in a different direction, make sure it has the color that matches your brand identity. And then what we could do next, we will use again the timeline view that would allow us to really follow the path from A to B to C to make sure that as the animation is playing, you can then show from where we start and where it should be flying. Now, all of the maps that you have created, they are stored in your archive. So if you're, do you want to show this map? Yeah. So all of the map that you ever have created, they're stored in your archive, which is especially useful if you have morning producers, if you have night producers, they work in different shifts, but you want to make sure the assets can be shared amongst each other. Then this overview can be used in order to pull up those maps and continue to work on them. And we also have an in-house team that provides ready-to-use maps. So for those earthquakes, as I mentioned, for hurricanes, in this case, we actually have routing data for some cycle races. In this case, this is the Giro d'Italia, which is a big cycle race. Then you can pull up those maps as well and continue to work based off of those. Do we have any more questions? Well then, thanks so much for being here with us today. We are right over there at this booth. If you have any more questions for the Mapcreator team, we're happy to answer them. Thanks for having us today.